So I guess it was in January we talked about doing Monday night business trainings because there's so many different skill sets and different stories on our team. And I want to make sure everyone understands this. We are not experts. We are just failing forward and then sharing the journey afterwards. We're like, oh, guess what? Avoid this trap. Or, oh, guess what? Look forward to this. These are all things that we're just sharing because we've experienced it, and you will too. So, tonight we're going to talk specifically about two really important topics, one of them being career mindset. And that just means Plexus is no longer just a hobby to you, and you don't just want hobby money. And sometimes we get caught in doing a hobby business, but wanting the career money. Don't work like that. And then we're also going to talk about leadership growth. And we all have that inner desire to be better leaders, not just because of Plexus, but because of our families. And maybe we're active at our church, or maybe we're active in a group and we want to lead better. So it's my honor to go ahead and pass this over to Emerald Katelynn Morlino. She is going to share about when and how and what caused her to begin viewing Plexus with a career mindset.
Thank you, Jen. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be on here. When Jen reached out to me about this topic, I was like, yes, I got you, girl. This is it, because this topic is so close to my heart. Okay, so I started these products probably like many of you for the products. I needed help. I needed health. And that's just what I did. I shared with a couple people. I got a little bonus here and there, the good old Plexus referral money. That's amazing. And I was like, I didn't really try. Like, what if I tried? What would happen if I tried? And I started telling some people about Plexus and what I loved about it. Nothing major. I did not wake up wanting to be a network marketer. I was a full-time hairstylist. I had a 3-month-old little girl. And it was nice. It was nice to be able to take supplements and have money coming in to cover them, maybe a little bit money here and there. But it was just that side hustle, right? I worked 40 hours a week. My husband has a really good job. It was nice. I enjoyed it. Then, there was like the goals, and we were like, okay, let's go for a little bit more. We were making like a decent side hustle income, but I still had a job, right? So that was 2017. In 2018, my daughter got really sick and was hospitalized for 3 days. And that was the turning point for me. So it was just over a year of me starting, and we were sitting in the hospital on day 2, and the nurses team of 10 came in and said, do you have care for your daughter? What happened? What's going on at home? And I said, well, we both work out of the home. We have a nanny that watches her. And they said, this is a lot for someone that's not her parent. They're probably going to be looking for another job. And I was like, what? I was like, okay, like that was it. There was no other options. That's what they gave me. And my husband was sleeping on the couch. I was sitting in the recliner next to her crib. And my phone, y'all, was blowing up with Plexus love. Just people, what do you need? Do you need to just drop off food? Do you want us to pray? Like all the things. And all of a sudden, it was like the hand of God just wrote on the wall, this is why you have Plexus. Y'all, this was a year later from me starting my side hustle business. And I knew a peace came right over me. This is why you have Plexus. This is the vehicle to options. And I was like, all right. So day 3 came, we went, whatever, we went home on day 4. My husband said, what are we going to do? Like, what's the plan? And I was like, I'm going to take 3 weeks off of work. I'm going to stay home for 3 weeks. We're going to go to the follow-up appointments. We're going to figure out what's going on. We'll go from there. So I stepped away from the salon for 3 weeks because I had that buffer from Plexus. It was enough to get me through without really having to struggle. So I kept sharing, and I saw that Plexus, this was why, right? It gave me the options of being the mom when my kids were sick. I could call out of work. It gave me the options of when they get into, I'm thinking with her, when she gets into school, I can be the field trip mom. I can do all the things. I don't just have to be working mom. I was like, this is opening up doors, windows, and opportunities. And I still wasn't looking at it as Plexus was my career. I was still working 40 hours at the salon. It was my nice little side hustle. I am an entrepreneur at heart. I love, like I love, like, you want to make let's make money. Like, let's have rental properties. Let's do the things. But I didn't really see it being my job. It was always in my mind, even at an emerald jewel level. I would always do hair, right? Because that's what I loved. And then we got pregnant with my son. And I took, for me, compared to the first one, an extended maternity leave because I can. And that was December into March. I was going back to the hair salon. I cut my hours. I was going to work part-time. We had the nanny. Life was good. I worked for 3 days and COVID hit. And I went home. And I was like, uh-oh. So this is March 18th. No, February 18th. And March 18th. And my house, we were building a brand new house, was going to be delivered in less than 2 weeks. And I don't have a job. I was like, all right, we're living in like an 800 square foot apartment with 2 kids, a dog. I'm not working. I was like, all right, well, good thing we have Plexus. Like, what is even happening here? Because you don't get paid for maternity leave while you're actually out of work. That comes up like when you're already back to work. So Plexus was filling the gaps. Plexus filled the gaps all of maternity leave. And now Plexus was going to fill a really big gap because, like COVID for everyone, so much uncertainty, so much, am I going back to work? What is this going to look like? Like, what is the rules, the regulations? It's my mom's salon. We're looking at all these things and it's not adding up. It's not. So my husband said to me, he was like, what do you think? And I said, I mean, I can stay home. I don't have to go back. I can do Plexus. And he's like, you really think you can do Plexus? Like really, like, because we were kind of, I mean, financially we were okay, but it was looking like a pickle. There's a brand new house coming and I don't have a job. And I was like, no, I think we're good. Like, I think this will be fine. So I wrote on our mirror in the bathroom, we are Emerald. And he was at work and he got out of the shower and he comes out of the bathroom and he's like, we are? And I was like, no. He's like, well, what's going on? And I was like, I need to see that every single day. Every time I get out of the shower, I want to see it on the mirror, fogged up. And you know what? His excitement about that lit a fire. Because I saw for the first time how much it meant to him. And putting all of the pieces of the puzzle together, when I decided to be raw and real and say, I can make this work. I can do this. Okay. And, this was my 3.5 years in. I now had a 3-month-old baby, a 3-year-old toddler, and a dog in 800 square feet. Like, how are Zoom calls going to happen peacefully? Y'all, they're not. Okay. Like, this was not what I was planning at all. And I said, this is my career. This is it. I'm not going back. I'm not doing hair. It's not worth the stress. It's not worth the uncertainty and the changes with the world. This, again, is now God saying, this is literally the worst. Like, your house is not coming. Like, they put our house off for 3 months. You're stuck here. And I thought, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. This Plexus is the vehicle. And I will tell you, it took me just coming to terms with putting faith into what I already had. It's been there. It was there. It had shown up for me time and time. I could go on about stories about how Plexus filled this little gap here and this little gap here and this little gap here. We have rental property and our main home. 2 weeks before Christmas, both heaters went. And I was like, oh, I have that in my Plexus account. My husband's like, what? Like, what? And I was like, yeah, like, save the day. Like, it showed up. It was showing up for me. And I needed to believe that if that is what I wanted, if I wanted to be career-minded about Plexus and I wanted to step away from my job and seize all the options that were now being put in front of me, I could. I just had to have faith that I was enough to do it and I was going to make it work. the picture that I had convinced myself if I hadn't gone Emerald before having a new baby, it wasn't going to work because now I have an infant again. I had all these things created as to why I couldn't make it work, rather than looking at what I had and the ingredients that I had and just believing in it, pouring myself into it. So what did I do between March and May when we became a dual team? I created boundaries, because when you have kids, create boundaries. I set up like a schedule. Okay. I knew on nights that I needed to work. These are nights I need to do these parties, these Zooms, whatever we were doing. I needed to do these coaching calls. And then there was nights that I didn't. And I set that boundary and I stuck to that boundary, because then when I worked, I was intentional. I wasn't getting sucked down the Facebook hole or Netflix. The month we went Emerald, I boycotted a show on Netflix because I knew it was going to be a waste of time. And there was many times that I was like, I just want to watch it so bad. And I was like, no, take the hour and move the needle. Stop. And I will tell you a funny story. When we went Emerald and I sat down in June, I was like, yes, I get to watch it. It was terrible. It was terrible. I got like 2 episodes in and I was like, forget this. See, this is why I did it. Set boundaries and respect them. Be intentional when you go to do things. And even if you're not certain, if you have like the mustard seed, just go with it. If you allow God to show you what this company can do and what this opportunity can do and who it can bless, you will, without a doubt, see the signs. You will see the signs. You will hear it through testimonies. I mean, I can look at the blocks on here and just see multiple testimonies of people that this has provided options. And that is my favorite word when it comes to Plexus, because it's not just like a job. It's not just filling, this gap. It is giving me options. It is allowing us to think farther than we ever could have. It is allowing us to have conversations that would never have been possible. How can we bless other people? I just love the flexibility of Plexus. I love that now, like, this is what I do full time. I love connecting with my team, getting on coaching calls, seeing how people are doing, and I get paid for that, which I still don't understand. Like, it's amazing. It's literally, I always say, like, I hope Plexus never actually realizes what they pay us to do, because it is the best job ever, ever. And when you can start to see your belief move down through your friends and family and teammates, that blessing just gets bigger. But having a career mindset, I always thought I would be working, we call a job. I would always be, doing hair or hustling somewhere. I never saw this as a career until the opportunity was presented. And I decided, why can't I? Why can't I? I've talked about it. I've dreamed about it. I've written it down. I've wrote it on a mirror. Why can't this be a career? There's no more risks in this being a career than there was me being a hairstylist and COVID happening. There's no more risks. Y'all, I got a tens and tens of thousands of dollars raise this year during a pandemic when I technically lost my other job to a virus. I would have taken a pay cut this year in the salon because of the regulations and rules that my hands are tied. I just have to follow them. This career is no more risky than walking into a boardroom or walking into a salon or walking into a school. No more risky. And the blessings that flow from this company and opportunity are outstanding. Outstanding. So I encourage y'all, if you have had the slightest inkling of making Plexus a career, of really growing that business, then you need to just close your eyes and take a deep breath and do it. Because saying yes 1 year prior to when I actually would see that I needed it. Like I think back all the time and I think of Alita. Alita says all the time, you don't know what your neighbor's going to need tomorrow or next year. I think about that all the time. That was me. I said yes because I didn't feel good. I did not know the last 3.5 years were going to happen. And this was going to be something that solved the answers. I would have probably laughed if you said this was going to solve all your answers. And it was going to open so many more doors and windows. So if you have the slightest bit of hope and faith in this business, please, please take care of it, water it, because we are here to help you. Okay. This team, I mean, Jennifer's amazing and Jennifer grows amazing leaders. So reach out, tell them what you want out of this. Tell them, yes, I want this to be a career. I want to move in that direction. Tell them, because they want to pray for you. They want to love on you. They want to help you reach those goals and be there when it is time. When March rolled around and I got phone calls from my leaders and they were like, this is it. April rolled around and they said, May's the month. May is the month that your life is going to change. Your team's life is going to change. The power in having them do it with you and believe in you is unstoppable. It's amazing. So I encourage everyone to follow your passion, listen to your heart, look for the signs, and just know what a blessing it is when and if you decide that Plexus is a career for you now or 3 years from now. You will be blessed beyond belief.
So good. Seriously. And I felt like this was going to be a particularly special night just because Lisa had messaged me beforehand and she asked me about something. And I just realized like we have to go back to what you just committed this to. And the fact that this was not something that found you or not something you found, it's something that found you because it was given to you. And when we take that back to the honor of the fact that this is a blessing and we get to steward it so well. And that doesn't mean someone that just gets their products covered is not stewarding it well. They are, as long as you guys are in this for Sheila Medina's the best. She always says, if you're not in this to change lives, you're in it for the wrong reason. And sometimes that means it's your life that you're changing. So I love that you said to set boundaries, Katelynn. And one of the things I would encourage you guys, if you want to have a career mindset, one, let go of this fable that you're going to live on a straight up rocket ship. I mean, if businesses were like that, well, besides Amazon, but if businesses were like that, I mean, my goodness, can you even imagine? That's just not reality for businesses. There are always ebbs and flows. And so when you carry around that mindset of this is my ebb and this is my flow, that's important. I would encourage you guys, even if it means just a section of your dining room table and put duct tape out a space, you need to have an office, whatever that looks like. And it's really more for your mindset and say, this is my office. Like, this is where I do work. You guys have to make sure that you have something that makes you feel like a business professional. For me, it was when I got my very first iPad. I actually earned that as a diamond with Plexus, and I felt like a professional. It was, you need something that gives you that layer of professionalism. I always joke, like I've always wanted a briefcase, always. Like I've dreamed I want a briefcase. And I'm just telling you that because when you carry a career mindset, you start to view it not as this embarrassing, like, oh my gosh, it's network marketing. It is, isn't it great? Yeah, it is network marketing. It gives you a boldness. All right. So that was amazing. I loved every minute of it. And I hope that you guys have really taken to heart that having a career mindset, it's a shift. And I want you guys to understand it does not mean saying, heck yeah, I want diamond money. Everybody says that. Of course you want diamond money. Who doesn't want diamond money? But it comes at a cost. And the cost is personal growth, a lot of time and effort pouring into people. It's work, but it's good work and it's fun work. And just like Katelynn said, she's like, I hope they don't figure out how much they pay us. And I think the same thing sometimes. And I will tell you, when Slavics came here to be hosted at Christmas time and I had to put him back on a plane, it literally ripped my heart out. I thought, gosh, this is the worst feeling I've ever had. Like I'm sending this little boy back and I don't know if I'll ever see him again. I don't know if the adoption's even possible. I worried about him every single day. But what felt so empowering to me is when I contacted the adoption agency and she said, this could be anywhere from 12 to 18 months. And I said, why so long? She said, well, you're going to have to get to fundraising. You're going to have to pay for all these different things along the way. I said, well, how much do you need? Like, what do you need? And let's do this. So we had the fastest adoption that agency had ever seen because y'all, I had options. I literally could just pay for him to come back. And that was the best feeling in the world. And so, like you said, you just never know what's around the corner. So the money's nice, and I'm not complaining when I get a nice purse or something like that, but that's not really what it's for. It's for your career, and your career that actually creates life changes. Okay, so now we're going to talk about growth and leadership. And I remember when I first started with Plexus when I first started to realize I had to be a leader. First of all, I hated it because I felt like I was seeing all these flaws in me. Like I just felt like I couldn't ever be good enough for them. And I hated that feeling. And then someone recommended doing the 21 Laws of Leadership book by John Maxwell. And I did it with a group of women, and I couldn't lead it because heck, I was learning it with them. I was learning as I went along. And my favorite line in the whole book said, people will follow you forever as long as they know that you're trying. And it felt so good to know I didn't have to be perfect and that I could make mistakes and just say I made a mistake. They'll follow me because they see me trying, seeing me grow. And that's exactly what I've seen my friend Lisa do. Lisa Youngs is probably one of the most powerful leadership stories for me because she has absolutely leveled up in so many ways. I mean, she's a lovely woman and always has been, but dang, like the power in her leadership. I was like, please hop on and share about growing as a leader because you are evidence of that. So I'm going to go ahead and mute and let you take over. And I appreciate it, by the way.
Thanks, Jen. Okay, so my name's Lisa Youngs. I've been with Plexus, so it'll be 6 years actually in May, which is just crazy. I was one of the ones that was blessed to sit in a nursery with Jennifer Lee, with our babies at our homeschooling co-op, talking about Plexus and her talking about that pink drink. And unfortunately, it took me 18 months to finally say yes, but I'm so grateful that I did. Okay, so when I started Plexus, I had no intentions of working in business. First of all, I didn't know what network marketing was. I didn't understand. I had no business experience whatsoever. I have 6 kids. I've been a homeschooling mom forever and a day. When I started Plexus, my oldest was 18 and my youngest was 1. So literally it's like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't have time for anything else. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate that you weren't technically looking for a business. But thankfully, I had signed on with Alita Langford, who is just a powerhouse, and she does have amazing business sense. So of course, she encouraged me to grab 3 people. I'm like, okay, I can do that, So it was baby steps. So I knew because she believed that I could, and because she gave me the steps that I needed to do to grab those 3 people. So I grabbed those 3 people, and I was naive enough to not know what I didn't know, if that makes any sense. So sometimes that's a good thing, because as time went on and my business grew, so I got my products paid for, and then I thought, oh man, wouldn't it be so cool to, just earn $1,000? What a difference I would make for my husband. But I was telling myself all the things as far as my leadership. And I told myself, I'm not a good leader. I'm not a good leader. And what happened with that was I wouldn't show up. Like if I didn't believe that I was a good leader, I wouldn't show up as a leader. And I would check out, I don't know if you guys know that consistency compounds, but when I felt down and felt like I wasn't leading my team well, I would check out, and that affected everything. And I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do to grow. And I was just a leader that didn't have the confidence. I didn't believe it, right? I mean, part of this is so much our own belief. And so that's kind of where I was the first several years. I'm saying it was almost 4 years of feeling this way. So thankfully, I had enough drive, and with Alita and Jennifer and just an amazing supportive team, that I was willing to do that next thing. But it wasn't until I realized what I was doing, I was comparing myself. I don't know if you guys have ever related to like comparing yourself to other people or other leaders that maybe you think, man, I could never do that because I'm not them, or, I'm not an amazing trainer and know the products like Jennifer Leith, or I'm not a leader. I don't get up on the stage and sing for all of the convention. And so I would compare myself, and all that did was slow me down, and it just made me stuck. I was focused on what I wasn't rather than who I was created to be, the strengths that I was created to have. And so I was frustrated. I was a frustrated leader because I didn't believe that I could be a good leader. I was comparing myself to other people that were killing it. And then I was checking out. So that was just a really toxic combination. And it wasn't until I was able to look at the people that were killing it with the business, where I wanted to be. And I looked at them, I thought, well, how in the world can I expect to be where they are as leaders if I'm not doing the things that it takes to get there? How could I even think that I could be where they are? I wasn't reading the books. I wasn't listening to the podcast. I wasn't showing up consistently for my business. I wasn't running my own team Zooms. I wasn't running events, all those things that it takes to become the leader. If you want to be a jewel leader, you're going to have to do those things. And I finally realized, I'm like, I got to start showing up. And so it was like an epiphany. It was like one of those moments where, kind of like what Katelynn said, it was like the writing was on the wall. And I knew the steps that I needed to take. Thankfully for me, I had people on my team that were amazing people, and they had stepped away, because like if it's inconsistent, the pace of the team is going to go like the leader. So if I'm being inconsistent, my team's going to be inconsistent. And so that's kind of what had happened with my team. And when I saw the writing on the wall, I thought, you know what? I need to start praying that those people come back. I need to start showing up and doing the activities. And they did. I called, I apologized to them. And it was very humbling, because it's not fun to say, man, I'm so sorry that I stink as a leader, and I'm telling you right now, it's going to be different. And, and I'm going to be consistent, and I am going to show up. And that's exactly what I did. So last spring is when it all kind of turned around. So this was almost 5 years in, you guys, of Plexus. So this has been, like little baby steps, maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Probably not even that good, but that's kind of the picture. So I started doing the things, and I still did not have the confidence. I didn't think I could do a team Zoom. I didn't think that I could do wellness events. I didn't think I could do all those things. I didn't think I could talk on Jennifer Lee's team training ever. But what I did do was I started doing them. And as I did them, as I started doing wellness events every week, as I started doing team Zooms, as I started meeting with my team and doing coaching calls, I never thought I could do a coaching call. And now I love them. And what it was, I started doing them. And guess what happens when you guys start doing the action it takes to be the leader that you want? You get the confidence. And like Jennifer said, it's like, all you got to do is stay 1 step ahead. Stay 1 step ahead, and you are there to encourage your team to become even better leaders than yourself, And so that's really what changed for me, was my confidence grew because I was showing up, I was doing the actions. I started reading leadership books. I started, listening to podcasts like crazy. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I did was I started focusing on the things that I was rather than the things that I wasn't. So I'm not Alita, I'm not Jennifer, but I am Lisa, and I do have gifts to share with other people, gifts to share with my team. And so I started walking in those gifts. And one of the things that I did do, I was able to encourage my team, and I was able to speak truth into their lives. And, I had struggled with depression. I had struggled with anxiety. I had struggled with just a lack of belief and confidence. So I was able to speak into those things, because all of us are going to have insecurities. But if you can be one of the people that can tell your team, I see this in you, and, say it boldly and say it often, then that is going to make an impact for your team. So whether you have one person or you have 500 people, whatever the case, that is your job, is to be able to look at their strengths and let them know, I see this in you. So step out in that. Don't worry, to the left, to the right, whoever's around you, you just walk in that, because that is what's going to make such an impact for your team. And one of the things that I did do, I wrote down, what kind of leader do I want to be? So I had written down, I want to encourage my team. I want to see them. I want to value my team. I want to have integrity. I want to be bold, and I want to be dependable. And I can tell you, I can look at my team and know I'm not doing all these things perfectly. I have a lot to grow in, but I have gotten better. So none of us are going to be perfect leaders. We are going to, if you have success, there's going to be failure along the way. But I can tell you, figure out what kind of leader you want to be. Look at your team, see what strengths that they have, and ask them to step out in those strengths, because that will make such a difference. And one thing I will say is, find someone to run with. If one person that will kind of push you outside your comfort zone, one person to link arms with and say, man, I really don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I know this is what it's going to take to get to that next step. And it will make all the difference. Thankfully for me, I had an incredible upline. I had Alita, I have Jennifer. I mean, you guys were so blessed to be on the best team in Plexus. And so it was like, I had to borrow their belief for a little bit, but now I knew that I have my own role on this team, and that I could just be confident in that. I didn't have to be anyone else. All I needed to do was step out in the strengths that I had, and then it grows. So I would just encourage you guys that if I can do this, I promise you, you can hit whatever rank it is or goal it is that you want in Plexus. I promise.
This has like been my favorite night we've had in so long. I don't know. Do you guys feel it, or is it just me? Like, am I particularly emotional? Like, this is it. This is the heart of what I'm talking about. Because if we are able to do what Lisa said, where she goes and she finds the greatness in the people in her team, look at what she did. She literally sat down and wrote down the words that she wanted to be defining her leadership. I mean, who does that? Not somebody that's just sitting back in life coasting. And also, I will tell you, it's interesting you said that, Lisa, because you and I have talked in the past about struggling with what we thought, and maybe you still feel this way, was anxiety and depression. But I've found it's hiding. It's literally hiding because of all of the things, whether it's comparison or fear. It's easier to hide, and yet it's not. It actually feels horrible to hide, but it feels like so terrifying to kind of go take that leap. And we all go through it, every last one of us. We think, but you don't know, you don't know how bad this is. If you think there's this horrible thing about you, that you're fundamentally flawed, and everybody else got this training that somehow you missed. You're like, when was that? Because y'all all know something I don't. And that's just not true. And so for Lisa and the evolution that I've seen in her leadership, it has been so encouraging. And I'm telling you now, it actually makes me giggle. I used to do coaching calls with Alita. Okay. Me. I'm on the phone like, and how does that make you feel? And what does that say about you? And the very thought of it is hilarious now, because she is literally the best coach ever. But you said it, Lisa, you said eventually creating leaders better than ourselves. And that's our goal. And we let go of the ego. So I'm going to give you just two more things before we round this out. One is this: if you are working hard on your leadership, and you are looking at people on your team and they're not moving forward, and you think, what does this say about me as a leader? Like, you look at them and they're not rising up to the occasion. They're not showing up. You can look at yourself, because it is true what she said, the pace of the leader sets the pace of the team. But sometimes it's not about you. It's about their timing and their ability to pull through those fears. And you can help them with that. I used to take it on. So I was like, I couldn't believe that Plexus might not be for somebody. Like I couldn't believe that somebody really couldn't move forward. So it had to be my fault, like for sure. And it just can't be that way. We can't take the ownership and sit around feeling like, if only I was better at it, she would have done better. There's personal responsibility in that. And then I'll also tell you guys with leadership, one of the best investments that I ever made is having somebody as a coach. And whatever that looks like for you, it could literally just be someone in your life, not even Plexus related. And you go and you say, can I just share some things with you? Like, I trust you. I feel like you make really good decisions in life. I respect you. I just want to say these things out loud and get your feedback, because sometimes we just need a sounding board. My husband tries to do it and I get mad every time. I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about. I'm like, that's the worst idea I've ever heard. So I can't do that. It's bad for my marriage. But being able to say all these things out loud, and we would record it so I could go back and watch it and be like, did I literally just say that? That was so helpful for me. Being a leader, it felt like walking around nude constantly, because it's like you're just exposed. You're supposed to love and lead and set the example. And sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes you want to say, did she seriously just wear that? Like sometimes you want to say those things that you shouldn't say. But my point is, it's a journey of growth. And that's what you did, Lisa. And I absolutely adore you for it. So tonight, what I want you guys to do before you even get up from wherever you're sitting is write down 3 words that you want to define yourself as a leader, whatever those 3 words are. And I like that you said dependable, Lisa. That is so important. Charles Robinson's #1 rule in life is do what you say you're going to do. And when he would say that, it would make my stomach clench, because I'm the kind of person who'll say, I'll message you back, or I'm going to send you a sample, or I'll look for that and send it to you. And then I don't. And I don't want to be that person, because I forget, like I don't write it down. I don't want to be that person. Okay, so we have 1 more week of this. So Megan Malakovic, Alita Langford, and Steph Farron. I'm pulling this up so we have the title real quick. Next Monday night, it's about how to create culture on your team and how to actually invest in your personal growth. So Alita has culture that's so amazing. You could like eat it with a spoon. And then Megan has done amazing with her personal growth. And so is Steph Farron. They've just completely, I hate when people say you've gone from a caterpillar to a butterfly, because there ain't no caterpillars on this team. Like we all butterflies. So thank you guys. This was a completely blessed night. Lisa, thank you so much. And Katelynn, thank you so much. And I will post the recording as soon as it's uploaded to YouTube. It's good to see you all, and good night.